Hello again. I'm back. We're ready for day 3 this week. It's Wednesday. Hopefully you're learning a lot about making inferences. We have some more practice on that today. How did you do on your occupation guessing yesterday? Hopefully you guessed all those occupations. All right. So today our practice is a little bit different than that. It's a longer passage, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I'm going to switch gears a little bit. We'll get back to making inferences in just a second. I want to talk about punctuation. What is punctuation? Punctuation is used in your writing. It's spelling things correctly. It's using capitalization and proper end marks that go at the end of your sentences. It's using commas in the right places and apostrophes. It's all of those good things. Maybe you've heard the word grammar before. Grammar is also important in your writing and has to do with punctuation and spelling things correctly. So today we are going to practice using punctuation and good grammar by doing some daily fix-it. Maybe you've done some daily fix-it before. I want to go through some daily fix-it together, and then you're going to do the rest of it on your own in your bundle today. So first things first, let's talk about punctuation. All right. So let me make my camera smaller, and we'll put it right over here. Hey, punctuation is so important. Yes, it is, especially to your reading teacher. Let's remember. Read this purple sentence with me. Every sentence needs to start with a capital letter. Every one. Okay, so every sentence, start it with a capital letter. Okay, let's move on to the green one. Read that with me. Every sentence needs to end with a period, question mark, or exclamation point. And we'll talk more about that in a moment on how you know which one to use. And then this last part, read this blue sentence with me. I'll move this, so hopefully that goes away. There we go. Every sentence needs a who and a do. We talked about this at the very beginning of the year. Okay, remember it needs a who, which is who or what the sentence is about, and it needs a do, which is an action. So make sure your sentence has a who and a do. All right, good review. Let's talk here about this sentence and what might be wrong with it. Okay, so right here, we're going to talk about this gray sentence up at the top. Read that with me. Do you know how to steer a boat? Okay. What is wrong with this sentence? There's only one thing wrong with this sentence. What is it? You might have said it needs a question mark at the end, and you would be correct if that's what you were thinking. Why does this sentence need a question mark? You're right, because it's asking us a question, and that means it needs to end in a question mark. All right, so let's look right down here at these notes, these details here. They help us know how sentences should end. So here's the question: how should sentences end? Well, a period ends a statement. So if I say something like, have a good day, I'm telling you to do something, okay? And it's a pretty ordinary sentence. It ends in a period. Or maybe I'm giving you information, like look in your bundle for all of the directions, or you can find the directions in your bundle. Those are ordinary statements that give information, and they can end in a period. Let's look at the green one. A question mark ends a question. It asks something. So up here, do you know how to steer a boat? It's asking something. So we know that instead of a period, this should have a question mark. So you will have a sentence a lot like this one, and you will need to fix it by crossing out the period or circling it and writing a question mark. Then let's look at the last thing you could end a sentence with. An exclamation point ends a sentence that shows a lot of feeling. Do you remember what an exclamation point looks like? It's the straight line with a period at the bottom, okay? And an exclamation point ends a sentence that shows a lot of feeling. So if I said, I'm so excited to see you, that's the kind of sentence that would end in an exclamation point. Because as you can tell, it shows a lot of feeling. So 3 ways to end a sentence. You'll be looking for those in your sentences today. And as you read your daily fix-it sentences, I want you to make sure it ends with the right end mark. Okay. All right. So you have a total of 10 sentences. Let me move my camera just a little bit, of 10 sentences to edit today. It's called Daily Fix It. You'll find this page in your bundle. And we did the first one together. It was really similar. Yours is a little bit different. So be sure you do that first one too. And then there's 9 more that you will edit. This is the word edit, which is a word for fix. You will fix these sentences today. So let's go through what you should look for as you're fixing these sentences. Things to look for. Does it have the right end mark? We just talked about that. Let's review the 3 ways: exclamation point, period, or question mark. Make sure it has the right one. Is the I capitalized? Okay. The letter I when you're talking about yourself. So I could say, I had a great day. The I needs to be capitalized. Are the words spelled correctly? Okay. So if there's common right, fix those. And then another thing you can ask yourself, do plural nouns end correctly? Okay, so if I say shirts, that would be more than one shirt. It needs an S on the end. If it doesn't have an S on the end, then that would be a mistake in that sentence, and I would need to fix it. Okay, remember, plural means more than one. Let's look at this green bullet point right here. Here's another question you can ask yourself. Are there extra marks, like a comma or apostrophe, that don't need to be there? Okay, I know that sometimes I am really good, and some of you are really good at adding a lot of commas. Okay, and so I want you to read through it and make sure there's no extra marks, like a comma, that don't belong. Or sometimes I've noticed that 5th graders are good at putting in an apostrophe when they don't really need one. The apostrophe looks like a comma, but it's up at the top. It looks kind of like that. Okay, and so maybe you're talking about more than one shirt. And so you're saying shirts. I have 3 shirts in my room. Okay, and you put an apostrophe in shirts. But when you're giving a plural noun like shirts, you don't need an apostrophe in it. You just need an S. So as you're fixing your sentences today, make sure there's no apostrophes or commas that don't belong. And if there are, fix them. And then kind of the last thing you should look for is read through the sentence. You might even want to read it out loud and ask yourself, does it sound right? If it sounds wrong, chances are there might be a mistake in it. Okay, so you can even pause this video right now and keep this right up. And as you're fixing your daily fix-it sentences, you can just ask yourself these questions, and that will be really helpful as you do that work. All right, let's move on to our review, our inference review, because this week we are making inferences and drawing conclusions. And say it with me, an inference is a guess based on what you read or observe, plus what you know. You put those together and you make a decision, or an inference. So today you have a longer passage that you're going to read. And these are things I want you to think about. Let's see if I can get my camera a little bit smaller. Maybe. Nope. Okay. So I'll just move it around. These are things I want you to think about as you're reading today. Okay. Remember, when we make an inference, we take what we observe. And in a text, that's what we read. We take the clues from the text and we think about those. And then we think about what we already know in real life about those things. And we add our clues or our what we read to our what we already know. And we can make inferences or guesses about the character, about where they are in their situation. You guys are really good at making inferences. And so I want you to use what you read and what you know to make inferences today in your text. So let's look through some things. Oops, sorry about that. Here we go. Let's look through some things that will help you infer. So right here in the middle, we say, I infer by thinking about the character's actions. So what is the character doing? Use those to help you make an inference. Thinking about the character's feelings. So actions, feelings. Thinking about the setting and why it's important. Remember, setting is two things: where and when the story takes place. So think about the character's actions, feelings, and the setting. Let's go over here. Think about what the character says. Okay. So about the character's actions, feelings, and words. Those will help you make an inference. Think about what you already know. This is what's over on this side, what you read plus what you know. And then here, think about the plot and why certain events take place. Okay, so these are the events in the story. So as you read, you want to think about the characters, what they say, what they do, and what they feel. You want to think about the setting and the plot, which is the events in the story. And then you want to combine that with what you already know. You can put all that together to make an inference or draw a conclusion about the character. In your practice today, in your bundle, you will read about Coco the gorilla. I want you to grab a highlighter or a pen or pencil. I've got a pen right here. That will help you underline or highlight important things, okay? And highlight things you notice about Coco as you read. Coco was a real gorilla, and you will learn about Coco as you read today. As you're reading and highlighting, I want you to think about what you already know about animals and the way they relate to people and other animals. Maybe you have a dog or a cat at home. Think about how they interact with other animals, okay, and how they interact with you and the people in your family. I know some of you have chickens, so you can think about those too. All right. Let's look at this red sentence together. Pay attention to what's going on as you read. What is happening to Coco? There's a person in the story too. What's happening to that person? So pay attention to those details, those events as you read. And then when you're finished, you're going to answer the questions in the story. Use text evidence. What do you think text evidence is? I know you use this in science also. Text evidence is proof from the story. So these would be clues in the story that help you make an inference. So be sure to go back and find that text evidence. Again, that's why a pen or pencil or a highlighter can be good as you're reading. All right. And then some of your questions will ask you to make inferences. So I'm going to move my camera and let's review. Will you read this gray sentence at the bottom with me? I'm going to move my mouse so that bar goes away. There we go. Let's read that together. What you read plus what you know equals what you infer. So practice that as you read Coco today. Always email me if you have any questions. I will do my best to help out. Happy inference making. Bye.